Mr. Botting is the first person in Britain accused of being drunk in charge of an electric trike.
They failed to prove that I was in fact riding a tricycle. They couldn't say that it wasn't a motor vehicle.
Future prosecutions will decide exactly what they think a C5 is, provide evidence to back it up, and charge offenders very carefully.
Actually, they're just good friends. But when Kirsty Nightingale won a Sinclair C5 tricycle at a Valentine's ball last night and didn't know how to drive it, Nicholas Botting gallantly offered to pedal it home for her. Trouble was, 3 patrolling policemen happened by and arrested him for riding a tricycle on the pavement while unfit to drive through drink. He's on bail until March the 7th. Today, he returned with Kirsty to Cannon Row Police Station to collect the vehicle, which can be driven by anyone over 14, without a licence or insurance.
The police thought it was a joke. They were quite enjoying cycling home on it, I think. We were having sort of hysterics in the police car. I thought it wasn't the kind of thing that they would take you to court for. I mean, a tricycle on a pavement is hardly a sort of cardinal offence, is it?
Mr. Botting is the first person in Britain accused of being drunk in charge of an electric trike, and lawyers have asked to examine all the facts of the case. Meanwhile, Kirsty, who still hasn't learned how to connect the battery, pedalled off rather tentatively into the rush hour traffic in a vehicle that's already being called the Formula One bath chair. Sam Hall, News at 10, Westminster.
Today's case hinged round a fine point of law, whether the Sinclair C5 is a cycle or a motor vehicle. Nicholas Botting was charged with being drunk in charge of a cycle, and it was up to the prosecution to prove that that's what it was. After 10 minutes of legal argument, the magistrate decided that they hadn't proved their point and dismissed the case. Afterwards, Botting posed for photographers. He was delighted, but both he and the C5's owner, Kirsty Nightingale, admitted they'd been lucky.
Since I had drunk more than the legal limit, there was no way that I could get off on those grounds. So consequently, we let that go and hoped to pick the charge apart on basis they used the wrong words, quite simply. They failed to prove that I was in fact riding a tricycle. They couldn't say that it wasn't a motor vehicle. We were saying that it was it had a motor.
I think they now have established what the law should be for it. I think the next person who's going to get caught drink driving on a Sinclair is going to be tried properly next time with the right laws, and everything will be sorted out correctly.
Indeed, future prosecutions will decide exactly what they think a C5 is, provide evidence to back it up, and charge offenders very carefully. But none of that will worry Botting. He's just passed his test and bought a car. His tricycle days are over. And so are Miss Nightingale's. She's giving the tricycle away for charity. Robin White, News at 10, Bow Street.